Do you want to improve your ability to draw? Do you want it to be fun? Reach new heights, sail the oceans, plumb the depths of knowledge, and become greatness personified? Well, this isn't the place. Only suffering, drudgery, and heartbreak here. Beware, beware! Oh wait, that's the wrong script. I can't teach you to be greatness personified. But honestly, would you like to grow your art knowledge and drawing skills quickly? I went from this to this in a couple months, and I want to share with you how I did it. So, let's get started. First of all, I want to say that I'm by no means an expert, but I've been studying art hard these past couple months and found a few things that have really helped me, and I hope they help you too. Self-taught artists, and aren't we all self-taught artists in one way or another, develop the absolutely essential skill of independent investigation. I'll dive into that in a little deeper here soon, but first, let's start with my first tip and a quote by Lawrence J. Peter. If you don't know where you are going, you will probably end up somewhere else. All right, step number 1. Ask yourself this question. Where do I want to be at the end of this month? 1 month, that's it. What is one thing I could reasonably study in the next 4 weeks? I've been studying human anatomy, and particularly the human head lately, so my goals all focus around that. But realistically, you could choose anything, as long as it's a reasonable enough goal to work towards for a month. Maybe you want to draw scenes, but they are too big and overwhelming. What about focusing on drawing a variety of plants and rocks this month? Really nail them. I bet by the end of the month you will find it fun and even potentially relaxing to draw plants and rocks. Or maybe you want to draw animals. Pick a different animal each week. Maybe a cat, a dog, a rabbit, and a frog. And just focus on them each week. If that is too overwhelming, maybe just do head portraits of the different animals each week. Break your goals down into something that you are excited about. And make sure your goals are something that you yourself have control over. Your goal shouldn't be, I will be able to paint an oil portrait like Leonardo da Vinci. You don't have control over that. But what about, I will draw 5, 10, or 20 portraits by the end of this month? That is something you have control over. You have control over what you do, but not necessarily control over the result. I can draw a portrait 3 times a week, but I can't promise that they will reach a certain skill level. While our goal is to see improvement, and I promise we will, we need to pick the things that we do have control over and capitalize on them, and the results will follow. One of the biggest mistakes I made earlier on in my drawing pursuit was to pick something too big and complicated. I realized pretty quickly that I couldn't achieve what I had originally chosen, and then I would just give up. Don't be like me. Set a goal that is both approachable and just a little challenging. Success breeds more success. Now, think about how much time you could potentially devote to this new goal of yours. Do you have an hour in the evening that you watch TV? What if you were to plan to rewatch a show you really enjoyed in the past? But this time sit with your sketchbook and pencils, or drawing tablet if you use that instead. Pick a TV show or movie that you know fairly well but still enjoy, so that you don't need to look up every second, but it still gives you something enjoyable in the background. Or if TV isn't your thing, maybe try an audiobook, inspiring music, or maybe just set yourself a timer, even just 15 minutes. For those 15 minutes, stay focused on your drawing. Don't stress about whether it is perfect. Just approach it as a practice session, and don't be afraid to try things out, make mistakes, and just enjoy the process. You may even find that once you're in the groove, you will eagerly go past your 15-minute timer. One small warning here, be mindful of your body's needs and set yourself up for success rather than failure. If you're exhausted, don't force yourself to get practice in. Either find some drawing practice that is relaxing, maybe just drawing circles, lines, and shapes, or better yet, get some food, take a nap, and don't be afraid to wait till the next day. Practicing every day is great, but when practice becomes drudgery, you will burn out in record time and give up. However, if you find yourself never having time to draw, then maybe think about ways to free up time on a regular basis. Is there something you are doing that you could replace with drawing practice? Remember, this is just for this month, so you can meet your specific goal. Once you meet that goal, you can decide if you are happy stopping or if you want to try for another goal. If you're not sure you can replace one activity with drawing for an entire month, try it for a week. Just like with physical exercise, you should feel some resistance. It very well might be a little difficult, but it shouldn't be overwhelming or discouraging. My mantra is break things down into pieces that you can achieve. The more you draw and see growth, the more you will be inspired to keep going. All right, we're ready to move on to step 2. But first, here's one of my favorite quotes by Isaac Newton. "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." So step number 2 is to find some mentors. Let's go find our own giants. Now, before you start crying that no one will teach you or you can't afford to hire a teacher, let me explain what I mean when I say mentors. Mentors come in many forms. They can be YouTube teachers, book illustrators, game creators, graphic novelists, book cover artists, how to draw book authors, etc. Find yourself 1 or 2 of these mentors to really learn as much from as you can this month. Be sure to pick ones that excel in your area of interest. If you are looking to improve your people drawing skills, don't pick a landscape artist to study. If you are interested in growing your skills of drawing gritty game characters, don't pick someone who draws sweet chibi angels. I feel like that goes without saying, but just in case there was any confusion. The only exception to this is when a mentor happens to be a skilled teacher and touches on your area of interest, even if it's not their entire focus. For example, Kasem Crew here on YouTube doesn't draw in the exact style I want to achieve. However, he is so dedicated and thorough in his anatomy bootcamp videos that he has been an incredible resource for me in my study of human anatomy. Alright, so find a mentor or 2 that you really connect with. Maybe you love their YouTube personality, or maybe their Instagram illustrations leave you breathless. Save their info, subscribe to their channel, screenshot their videos as you watch them if something stands out or is useful for later review. Do the same with Instagram. Use Pinterest as a way to pin useful content as well. There's no need to get caught up in saving everything, but the best of students take notes. And that's what you need to do now. If you like taking digital notes and have an iPad, I found 2 apps particularly useful. GoodNotes is an excellent platform to take notes. You can add screenshots as well as write out your thoughts. The other app I love using is Concept. This is an infinity canvas and works kind of like having an enormous whiteboard up on your wall. I find that I am always adding onto my notes over time, and Concept lets me keep everything on one canvas so I can continually link things together. I also have a sweet journal notebook designed by the lovely Spoonful of Faith that I will use when I want to write notes down old school. It really depends on what mood I'm in on what I pick. Sometimes I love the ease of digital, and sometimes I just really need to feel that book spine in my hands and hear the pen scratching across the page. Either way, be a student to your chosen mentor and study. Take notes and explore. Quick word of warning, this study time does not count as drawing time. You can gain some knowledge from watching and studying other artists, but your own skills will not improve until you put that pencil to paper. So enjoy your learning time, but be thoughtful and deliberate with it so it doesn't take over. We have goals we want to accomplish this month. I feel like this quote by Dawson Trotman is especially fitting here. The greatest amount of wasted time is the time getting started. So step 3, choose helpful references and don't waste time. You don't need the perfect reference, but you do need good references. For me, while I'm learning anatomy, if I choose face references that have fairly indistinct features or are fairly nondescript, I'm setting myself up for a struggle. When I'm learning, I need to use references that show chiseled jaws, defined cheekbones, and large, clear eyes. I look for references with minimal background distractions and good lighting. We all benefit from exaggerated references at the beginning stages to help us learn to see like an artist. Only then will we be able to take those skills and transfer them to more subtler use. Don't be afraid to zero in on specific things too. For example, I was struggling with my face portraits and many different features a couple weeks ago. Eyes, noses, lips, and ears are complicated. Rather than overwhelming myself and trying to learn all at once in a full face portrait, I took some time and dialed in on one aspect. For example, here I'm practicing drawing eyes. How many times should I practice drawing just eyes? I don't have a great answer for this. However, Kesh here on YouTube has said that any time he is trying to learn something new, he draws it 100 times. And I really do feel that there is something to that advice. I saw the greatest leap forward in my understanding of shapes when I drew 100 boxes. I haven't been disciplined enough yet to draw 100 eyes, but I'm working towards that. Then I will be drawing 100 noses and even 100 ears. At least I hope to. I find it's important to keep a balance between practicing and making sure I don't get bored. So when you start practicing something new, be creative and keep it interesting. For example, with my drawing eyes, I want to draw a bunch of realistic eyes, of course, to start understanding the basics of their shapes. But there's no saying that I can't explore differences. I can draw sleepy eyes, bashful eyes, scared eyes, skeptical eyes. After I get a good number of realistic eyes under my belt, I can explore chibi eyes, manga eyes, cartoon eyes, Disney eyes, etc. 100 is a lot, and the goal is to get so familiar with drawing eyes that I'm comfortable and confident in drawing eyes both more realistic and cartoon style, even without a perfect reference. So anyway, that's my roundabout way to say plan on picking a variety of references as you go along to keep things interesting. Choose a few references to start, and then once you have a few practice sketches under your belt, go looking for more specific references that dial in on what you are struggling with drawing. Your reference library should be a flexible, constantly changing database that grows and changes with your skills. Pinterest is an especially great place to keep track of and order your references for quick access. I think Instagram has something kind of similar in their saves option. The icon looks like a bookmark, but I haven't really used that much yet. Warning: don't spend forever looking for the perfect reference. Your goal this month is not to find the perfect reference. It's to improve your drawing skills in a particular area. So allot some time to finding that reference, but it should be short and sweet. The world is full of amazing references. You only need 1 or 2 each day at the most. Like Trotman said, the biggest waste of time is the time we take getting started. Jump in. Get started. All right. Accountability is a statement of personal promise, both to yourself and to the people around you, to deliver specific, defined results. Okay, with this 4th step, it could maybe technically be optional, especially if you are a highly motivated self-starter and finisher. But for the rest of us, we all need some sort of accountability. Depending on how comfortable you are working independently, you may find it helpful to set up some kind of accountability to make sure you stick to your drawing goals. This might be a good friend or relative whom you ask to check out your latest drawing every day. This isn't for critique, and there should be no judging planned. Just someone enthusiastic about your goals and drawing, willing to bug you if you miss a day, and be excited regardless of what you deliver each day. For me, I found it fun and helpful to set a plan in motion with social media accountability. November through January, I promised to post 5 days a week, and that motivation kept me drawing something every day. I posted some things I wasn't excited about, but overall, that quote-unquote invisible group of online people waiting on my work kept me motivated and posting. This works because I have friends and connections of encouraging, generous people. If you tend to have more critical followers, first of all, why do you have critical people in your life? But secondly, if you don't want to change your social media connections, why not start a completely new channel or page or whatever? You can choose who to invite and keep it for accountability with people who genuinely encourage and support you. Again, this is not a critique group. This is simply bringing people into your art journey that will support you as you work towards your goal. Don't get me wrong, there is a time and place for critique, and it can be incredibly helpful for growing as an artist. However, when you are practicing a new skill and working on developing your artistic discipline, outside critique isn't the goal, but rather the goal is just getting into a good habit of daily practice. Alright, these first 4 steps should be thought out and begun on before you start your month-long art goal. Let's take this next week of February to think about and get all of these things in place. Then March 1st, it's time for action. And that's what these remaining steps cover. But first, this lovely quote by Tony Gaskins relates well to step 5. Success comes to those who trust the process, stay committed, and never give up. Alright, step 5. It's going to look worse before it looks better. Don't be shocked if you decide to pursue learning to draw something new and your first sketches look like they came out of a blender. You might be able to draw stunning portraits of people, but your first attempt at a rabbit looks like something from hell. Some skills translate, but whenever you start something new, it's going to be discouraging because in many ways it's like you are starting back at square one. Don't be discouraged or afraid. Each time you start learning something new, it will go quicker. Trust the process. In other words, we don't know what we don't know until we start drawing a new thing and have the rabbit from hell looking back at us, and we quickly realize that we don't understand rabbits. Then we can dive in, set our goals, choose our references, capitalize on our mentor's skills, and at the end of the month, we'll be drawing the cutest little Cupid rabbits we could imagine. Okay, hellish and Cupid rabbits aside, what it really comes down to is preparing yourself mentally to be okay with being pretty terrible at first. It's okay. Don't give up on your goals of learning something new. Don't hide your practice away from your accountability partners. If they don't know where you started, how will they celebrate with where you finish? Learning and practicing takes time. Learning to draw independently is a process of trial and error, but the end results are so worth it. Steve Maraboli says, "My mistakes have been my greatest mentors." And step number 6 is all about personal critique and feedback. We will see some growth if we just practice drawing every day, but we will see exponential improvement if we also develop a healthy habit of evaluating our own work. Kesh, here on YouTube, says that he does a little critique session after he finishes a piece. He looks for 3 things he likes in the piece, things that he wants to replicate in the future. And then he looks for 3 things that he doesn't like, that he feels could be improved in the future. I think this is a wonderful idea. It helps you develop a more critical eye for your work, highlights both successes as well as areas that need growth. Too many artists draw something and then beat themselves up over it. You would never put a good friend's work down. Don't do it to yourself. But since we want to grow, we need to discover our weaknesses, and that's where our objective critical eye comes in. Keep a journal, and after each piece, jot down some positives and 1 or 2 challenges to yourself. Don't make a bigger deal out of it than it is. For example, for this portrait, I could write down, hair looks fuller bodied and more alive than in previous work, and proportions overall look good. And then something to work on. I still have no idea what I'm doing with the nose, and eyes need some work. Or how about for this flower pot? Pros, I love my attempt to use more dramatic lighting in this one. Challenges, I need to study more how leaves fold and bend. See? Simple, to the point, and just enough for me to take away to help my work in the future. For example, my takeaway from this could be to experiment with more dramatic lighting in the future and get some better references the next time I draw leaves. I recommend taking notes down in some form when you're looking at your work. This will keep you objective and to the point. We don't need to get all caught up in spotting every little issue with our piece, nor do we want to gloss over things so quickly that we don't realize where and how we could improve. Lastly, no personal evaluation until the piece is done. We aren't aiming for perfection for this month. Once you critique something, we're not going to go back and fix it. It's too easy to get bogged down in getting things perfect, and I feel like more learning and growth comes from additional practice. If you're struggling with this, check your goals for the month. Is your goal to finish 1 or 2 perfect pieces? If it is, then go for it. But if your goal is to complete a certain number of pieces, then stay focused on that. We don't need perfection. Done is better than perfect. Done means accomplishment. Perfect is not only unattainable, but also if by some magic you were able to attain perfection in a drawing, your art career would be over at that point, because every piece after that would pale in comparison. Don't set yourself up for failure. Done is better than perfect. All right, on to our 7th and final step. But first, Richard Carlson says, life is a journey, and the key to a happy journey lies in celebrating each step along the way. And that's what step 7 is all about, celebrating. This is a fun step. If you didn't already plan a way to celebrate your accomplishment of meeting your month goal, which I'm assuming you did because you set yourself up for success, now is the time to reflect on that and celebrate. First of all, I want you to look at your first couple drawings from this past month. Now look at your last couple drawings. Depending on what you studied and where you started, this can be pretty dramatic. For me, 1 month surprised me. I didn't realize that 1 month of deliberate daily practice, 5 days a week, would grow my confidence, and I felt so inspired to keep going. The second month, I was blown away with what I was now seeing as quote-unquote easy. My 3rd month, I began nearing my original goals, and now in my 4th month, I'm shocked. I thought it would take years to get to this point. Yes, I still have much to learn, but I'm creating work that a couple months ago would have been impossible for me. And I did it with this 7-step process. Each month setting goals and working strategically to study and grow my skills. So take a day or 2 and celebrate. Maybe go grab a coffee with a friend. Spend a little money on a new digital brush set or pencil. Visit a park. Do something above and beyond what you usually do each week. And then get back at it. What will your 2nd month be like? I can tell you already it's going to be amazing. Let's get started. All right, everyone, thank you so much for coming along today. I'm excited to see you put this 7-step plan into practice. Go set some goals, find your mentors, gather your references, start your accountability system, and let's embrace this artistic learning journey together. As always, have a wonderful day and keep drawing, friends.